Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you all for watching this recording. Just in case you aren't familiar with who we are, I'm Maria,
And I'm Taylor.
and today we want to talk to you about Plant Club for fall 2023.
So, just the purpose of this is to outline the resources we have as a club and also the organizational structure that we have followed in the past, as well as ways we can see it happening in the future. And the same for the way that we do club leadership, how we want, how it has been in the past, and how we might want it to be in the future. And we also have to talk about some near future action items, things that need to happen pretty soon in order for our club to be renewed in the fall. And then we'll talk about some fun stuff.
Yay! Okay. So to start off, we want to talk to you guys about the club resources that we have at our disposal. So to begin with, we have access to the Arboretum. We also have access to the plant nursery that Taylor, as well as some of you guys helped helped start. Sorry, living with siblings. Anyway, the plant nursery that Taylor, as well as some of you guys, got up and running. I don't know if you all have been around to see it recently, but it's looking amazing. Taylor has done an incredible job over summer, and our space is really thriving. And we also do have access to the greenhouse. This semester and moving forward, it might be a little bit more limited with what we can do with the greenhouse, but nonetheless, we still have many other resources at our disposal. We also have access to classrooms. These classrooms are in the past we've used them for things like having guest speakers, anything that requires us to have a presentation or the use of a whiteboard, anything like that. We have access to the classrooms. They do have to be booked in advance, but within appropriate notice, that's something we can get done. To clicking, thank you. We also have access to things like tables. So for our plant cells, if we wanted to have extra tables, we can borrow those, or where we're holding workshops, we can also use tables. As well as things for crafts that we've acquired over the time that Plant Club has been active, and a myriad of gardening supplies. So right near the nursery, there is a shed that has a lot of tools that we can use, as well as a like surplus storage container that has things like tables. Really anything that the university is not using is up for grabs and we can use it. Another very valuable resource that we have is the Google Drive that Taylor made. So this is a place on Google Drive that has everything that you need in order to run Plant Club. So it's very well organized, and if you are a part of leadership, you have access to this file, to these files. Yes.
We also have several advisors for Plant Club, including our faculty advisor, Dr. Ballerini, and we have a sole advisor, Capicia Gonzalez, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about Soul and our connection with them, but they are essentially the student organization leadership on campus. So they run all of the campus clubs and organizations, and we can go to them. They have office hours. Every club has a different advisor. They're like several advisors, and we can go to their office hours, ask them for help or guidance, and get things done through them, like reserving rooms. We also this year have peer advisors, which are Maria and I, who are going to be here to just help the new officers transition and get the club renewed, and anything else that you guys might need for the new year. We'll be here. At least I'll be here the entire year. Maria hopefully will graduate in December. And then also we have a club bank account, and so we have funds. We right now we currently have about $1,400 in our bank account, which is pretty cool. We also have access to accounting services through ASI. So they are the ones that manage our bank account, but we can go to them for advice. They also have office hours, and we can go to them anytime to get like a printout of our bank or help them. They can help us with things like the marketplace, where is like a virtual space to sell items or tickets to events. And we also have access to cash boxes through ASI. And so just kind of a disclaimer, if we do sell things through the marketplace like we did last year, they take 5% of all of our sales. And so on the left is a screenshot. We also have in the Google Drive folder an accounting page where we're keeping track of all the money that has been spent and all the money that has been gained since the club started. And we'll continue to fill that in just to kind of keep track of things.
All right, and so for our club, right, I want to talk about how the club has been running in the past and some potential avenues for how the club could run if you all desire for it to run this way. So as of right now and in the past, our model has been we meet every other week as an entire club, and this is where we hold events like the pot painting that we did, the propagation workshops, any fun things that we do as an entire club. Those are every other week. And then on the off week where we're not meeting for Plant Club, the officers meet. And these meetings are focused on planning anything that has to be planned for the upcoming meetings, as well as like brainstorming what we want to do, and just really any like any bureaucratic things that we want to talk about. In the past, we've also had plan sales, and this is our main way of acquiring revenue for the club. And the plan sales, the amount of plan sales that we have a semester really are dependent on the inventory that we have. So how many plans we have, as well as other plant sales that are happening outside of our plant sales. For example, the Native Plant Society holds a native plant sale, and we don't want to have our plant sales around the same time that they hold their plant sales, just because we really believe in their mission, and we don't want our plant sales to interfere with their plant sales. And then in the future, a different way that the plant club can be ran is, instead of having small different topics that we address each meeting, for example, like those pot paintings and all those things, another way that we can run the club is by having a larger scale project or a few projects that get worked on the entire semester. And this is something that each time we meet, we chip away at in order to make the larger project come to fruition. For example, things like the pollinator garden. That's not something that we can do in a single meeting or two. That's something that takes a lot of planning and dedication. And that's something that would be easier to do if we had the second model of having larger scale projects that we work on the entire semester. I'm missing it. Oh, yes. And another idea of bringing in revenue is selling merch. So anytime that we are tabling, anytime that we are holding a plant sale, we can sell our merch as another way to bring in money. And then one thing that we talked about earlier was maybe having, every time that we have scheduled meetings, opening up those meeting times for people and the public to come and purchase plants. And then, Taylor, did you want to talk about your idea of opening up to the public and tickets, or do you want me to cover that?
Oh yeah, sure. The other idea we had, just, since we're talking about future possibilities, this is just focusing on large projects is just one idea. There are many, and we definitely want to know everyone's opinion about what we would like to do. But another thing that we talked about is that we could actually hold events that we charge tickets for the public to come to, where we're holding some sort of educational workshop, or not educational, but maybe even just like a project-based workshop, like the pot painting, where the regular plant club attendees might be the ones coordinating it and might not have to pay for a ticket, but we could open it up to the general public and they could pay like $10-15 or something to attend. And that could be another alternative way to create some revenue for the club.
Yeah.
And I also just want to mention something that Maria said to me just a bit ago, but you didn't mention it this time. So I just want to like echo it, that there's sort of, it doesn't have to be the past model or the future ideas. It could just be like a mixture of the two. And also, it could be something completely different. It's really whatever the new leadership team and Plant Club wants to do. But also just kind of one thing we wanted to keep in mind is that with our past model, the pro to that, having unique events each week, is that it sort of was able to capture like a wider range of people's interests in plants. So some people were really interested in the guest speaker, some other people were much more interested in painting pots, and so it kind of captured like a bigger group, versus the idea of having like a larger scale project might only appeal to like a smaller group of people who are interested in like going out every week and pruning plants, so there's definitely pluses and minuses to those things.
Do you want me to talk about it? Or...
I forgot that because I was just talking. Okay, I'll go on this one. So the past model for our club leadership has been that Marie and I, the president and treasurer, have been the ones to make all the decisions and do all the planning for the club. And I made these bubbles kind of correspond with like the number of hours comparatively that we spend doing things. And then afterward, once we decide and we've made a plan, and we have just kind of delegated the other officers in our club, for example, like the VP and the PR chair, to go ahead and like help us out with those things by giving them specific tasks to do. And that has worked, and it's not necessarily the model we wanted last year, but it is how it ended up being. And the kind of downside to that was, I mean, the positive was that it was a lot easier for just Marie and I to meet regularly, and easier for us to coordinate our schedules, just the two of us. However, the downside was that meant we ended up like doing the majority of the work, and it just required a lot of hours, and it was harder to balance as a student, like with our schedules. And so this is one example of a future possibility for how leadership could be organized in our club, where we have more officer positions. So in this scenario, we have the president, treasurer, and VP all have like slightly larger bubbles, and they maybe the three of them meet more regularly and share more of those tasks, the planning and the decisions. But then also there's other officers like the PR chair, and maybe even just an event specific person, who that person does all of our plant sale planning, and they do all of the tabling for club days and things like that. And then a project person who coordinates all of the time that we spend like in the nursery preparing our plants for the sale and that sort of thing. So in this situation, there would be a lot more self-delegation happening, where we would be meeting and people would be like, oh, I can do that, or I can do that. And also there's more of a willingness for the president and the treasurer to say, oh, this needs to happen. Who's willing to take that? I need someone to just kind of take on this whole project, or I need to do this project and I need help. And there's more communication and more decisions happening as a core group, and then the action items actually happening more in like an evenly spread out manner.
Yeah, and then I just want to emphasize that all of these different positions are they're all very doable, and the club really is, the amount of effort that you put into the club is the amount of like reward that you get back in the end, right? This is all of your club. And so I just want to make sure that you're not afraid of these different positions, for example, like president, treasurer, and VP, just because they seem like they're more work, because if you all pitch in, then they're all very doable all very doable positions, as long as everyone is doing their part and upholding their duties. Yeah. And then, so one of the things that we want to talk about is our club architectural agreement form. So if you all were at the first Plant Club meeting last semester, you're familiar with a version of this. So this is the overall architecture of how we run the club. So in this architectural agreement form, we have things like our mission statement, as well as all the different duties that each of the different leadership position is supposed to be doing. This is not a document that is set in stone. If you read through it and you see that you don't agree with how some of these tasks are delegated, this is something that's very fluid and we can modify as you see fit. This is just a way of making sure that everyone is being held accountable to what they signed up for. This is so that we don't revert back to the previous model of how the Plant Club was run, where a few people are doing the majority of the work, just because I don't know, I had fun last semester and I want everyone else to have fun this upcoming semester. And I mean, if we were able to do that with just a few people taking on so much of the work, imagine what we can do if we all pitch in and help out. So yeah, this is what this form is. So we'll send out a survey after you all have a chance to look at the this presentation, and we'll get your feedback on what you think of this form and if you think anything should be moved around. I don't know. This is your club. We want to make sure that it fits your needs.
Very
Okay.
well said. And I'll just add that just to kind of add to the survey that we're going to send out, it's difficult for us the whole club to meet at one time that works for everyone's schedule. And so the way that we've decided to kind of work around that issue is to send out this sort of opinion survey where we hope to get everybody's input. And then we'll kind of take all the responses together, discuss them as officers, and then hopefully have a meeting during a time when the majority of the club can meet to then discuss these things further after we've kind of gotten a general idea of where people's opinions lie. So that the discussion is more focused. Okay, so things that need to happen pretty soon. The biggest one being that we have to renew our club membership with Soul. And this is a process that happens every year. They put our club on pause, and you have to go through a series of steps in order for your club to be official. And during this time where we are paused, we're not allowed to get reimbursed from our bank account, which is something that we need to be able to do if we want to buy things for the club. So we want to be able to get this process done as quickly as possible. The deadline is September 30th. So ideally, we would be taking care of these things a lot sooner. So the first thing that needs to happen is that we need to elect new officers because Marie and I are graduating and we need to move on. The minimum is to have 2 officers, a president and a treasurer. However, we can have many more officers. It just depends what everybody in the club wants. So a minimum president and treasurer have to attend this workshop that Soul puts on called Nuts and Bolts, and it just goes over all of the rules and regulations that are in place by the university for student organizations, and the process of renewal and resources for treasurers and presidents and things like that. 3 officers are allowed to attend Nuts and Bolts so that everybody can get information on club resources. After that, a bunch of bureaucratic things have to happen, and this is just a process of submitting forms like on Adobe Sign. And so the first one is the officer agreement form. The 2 or 3 officers sign that, it goes to Soul, and then it comes back. And then after that, you have to sign another form called the organization registration. And then after that, you have to get your advisor to sign this agreement form. And then after that, you have to submit an official club agreement form. So it's a lot of forms.
It's a lot of forms, but they're short forms, so don't let them scare you.
And also, Marie and I are here to help the next president and treasurer. We're not going to leave you hanging.
No, yes. And yeah. And honestly, most of the information that you need is already in the drive, but like Taylor said, we're here to help. It's super simple.
Mhm. Okay, so like I said, the first thing needs to happen is we need to elect or select new officers. And there's a variety of ways in which we could do this. We're hoping in that in our opinion survey that we're gonna send out, we're gonna get some feedback from you guys about how you would like to appoint the new president and treasurer and VP, and if you want an event chair, PR chair, and things like that. So first we're going to send out the survey and just see who's interested in what kinds of roles. And then we're hoping that after we get that survey back, we can have an open conversation, as a club, but that might not be possible because of everyone's schedules and timing. So we'll just do the best we can to have a conversation about who's best fit for which position and how we can all collaborate with each other and support each other. And then after that discussion, we will decide whether we want to have an official vote, or we will just kind of decide collectively who's best suited, just based on what you guys want. Do you have anything to add, Maria?
I guess just so that we're like completely clear, the whole us voting is not, you don't have to like campaign or anything. It's more just a formality of where someone says, I want to be president, and we go, all those in favor say aye, and you say aye. It's yeah, not
Yeah,
stressful at all. Very low key.
we definitely feel like that would be better
Yeah.
than having people like stand up and try and campaign for why they deserve to be the treasurer or something like that. We don't want it to be stressful at all.
Yeah, we're not a government club. We want to plant some plants.
Yeah, we just want to do plans, but in order to be part of the university clubs, we have to do all this other stuff.
Yeah, just a little formalities to begin with.
Okay.
Okay.
So more formalities, things that need to happen soon. We need to set a day and a time for our regular meetings, and we will do this by sending out another survey, and hopefully people will be more clear about their fall class schedule soon. So we're going to send this out soon, and we just want to preface. Oh, actually, Maria, is it your turn to do the slides? Sorry, you smiled at me and I
Okay.
knew immediately.
I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go along with it. I can do the next one. Um, yeah, so like Taylor said, we first need to pick a date and time to hold our meetings for next semester. There's two potential ways that we can go about this. We can wait for after, you'll see, but where there's going to be a tabling event at the beginning of the semester, we can wait till more people sign up and then send a mass survey to get an idea of what the whole club wants to do. Or another option is we can also send out a survey to our loyal attendees. So all of you who have already been in the plan club, and go based off of your schedule of when we'll meet for our plan clubs. And I do want to make note that if you are interested in a position of leadership, the days and times that are on that schedule, on that survey, will be based on your schedule. So we're not going to meet a time or a day that doesn't work for the people who want to be in a leadership position. So don't worry about that. You get priority pick. And then so offers is get priority. And then we want to advertise our club at the beginning of the semester. So I don't know if most of you have been on campus before. So at the beginning of the semester, there's a is it a week or 2 weeks? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks called Club Days. Really, it's just Club Rush, where all the different clubs around the school table to get new members into their club. Our Taylor was able to get a spot for us this year, and we'll be set up in front of the riverfront, so over by Lassen Hall, if you're familiar with that side of campus. And since it's 2 full weeks, if we don't have someone to run the table at all times, we're thinking that we can have just our information there. So in the form of flyers, you all know we love a good QR code, so that if people are interested, they can sign up through the QR code as well as like get information. And yeah. And then Taylor, do you want to point out the more the merrier bullet point, or
Skip that part. It's okay.
okay.
Should
So yeah, we have a spot. We just need to make sure that we have people to run the table. Like I said, if we don't have all the times covered, that's fine. We'll figure it out. We just need to make those flyers and posters before August 28th. So if any of you are interested, please reach out to me. Yeah.
Great. And this is the last slide. So the fun stuff. We want to make some shirts for our club and some stickers and other merch that we've talked about in the past. And the thing is that we have lots of designs and they're very lovely, but who's going to make them happen? So this has just sort of been something that we tried to do last year, but Marie and I did not have the bandwidth to do this as well as the other things that we had to do. So we definitely would like to have fun merch things to sell or for the plant club members. But we need people to step up to actually get them ordered and make it happen. And then just some event ideas if we stick with the model of like every meeting is a unique event, or not, or they could just be unique events on their own that aren't during regular meeting times, or however you guys want to do it. We have been offered to give it have Plant Club be given a tour of the Cap Radio Garden. So if anyone's not familiar with that, the NPR Cap Radio has a building on campus. They just recently moved out of it, but they sponsored to have a pretty large garden there, and sustainability runs it. And it's usually locked and closed to the public unless you make an appointment or something to go in there, or you're a regular volunteer, which they do have. And the sustainability lead offered to give us as Plant Club a tour, which would be really exciting. And then of course we can do tours and other activities in the Arboretum and nursery. And then I'm thinking about composing a presentation on soil biology, because plants, well, some plants can survive without soil, but most plants need soil. So I wanted to kind of break that down and talk about it as sort of a nerdy workshop. And then we're also trying to get other people's, all of your ideas about what you want to do this year.
Yeah. And I just want to say one last thing before you all click off. I want to emphasize that all of you who have been in the club are very capable of being in any of these leadership positions. Please don't be afraid to take that leap and say, hey, I want to do this, because like we're all here to support each other. Everything has been laid out very well by Taylor. There's literally a whole Google Drive.
And you.
Yeah, but you did most of the organizing. It's okay. I give credit where credit is due. And yeah, it's all everything has been laid out, and you're all very capable. And I really, I don't know. I just think back to when I was an undergrad, and like me personally, even now, I will constantly doubt myself and like think, oh no, I can't do that. I'm not like qualified to do that thing. But I promise you all are qualified to do whatever you want to do in this club. So please don't be afraid. Yeah.
Don't be afraid. And also we're here to help.
Yes.
And also Maria and I are happy to be references for anybody who displays that they're capable of being responsible and being a good leader for our club. We're definitely happy to, as grad students and soon to be really career professionals, like happy to write references.
Yes. Yeah. As well as, I mean, we've always said, if any of you are interested in grad school, and like, I don't know, not even grad school, if you want someone to talk to, we are here.
Yeah, about
anyway,
undergrad life.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming or for listening, since this is a recording, and we are excited to see you soon.
Yeah. Bye, friends.